conditioning series on alcoholism. And again, for this session, the first thing we want to do is become as relaxed as we possibly can. To do this, first take a deep breath. Inhale deeply, that's it. Alright, now just let it out. Gently, slowly. Notice the relaxation that occurs, coming over your whole body, becoming relaxed. Worries are leaving your mind. Your whole body is becoming more relaxed, more at ease. Now take another deep breath. That's it. That's it. Now your breathing's becoming deep and regular. You're letting your whole body go deeper and deeper into a completely relaxed state. Now let's go over a few parts of the body. As we think about these parts of the body, each time we think of a part of the body, it will relax completely. Go completely limp, completely relaxed. Start thinking about your hands. Think of them as limp, heavy, and relaxed. Your hands are very limp, relaxed, and heavy, becoming even more relaxed as you think about them. Moving up, concentrate on your arms. Your arms are becoming very, very relaxed. A limp, heavy feeling coming over your arms. Each breath you take makes your whole body relax just a little bit more. Your whole body's relaxing with each breath you take. Now, moving down, let your chest and stomach relax. Think about your chest and stomach area, particularly your stomach. You're letting your stomach relax completely. The knots are going out of your stomach, becoming more and more relaxed. Just think, stomach, relax, and notice the rejection and reduced state of tension in your stomach as you willfully concentrate and relax all of the muscles in that area. Now, moving down, think of your toes and your feet. Letting your toes and feet relax completely. Thinking of them as relaxing more and more. Going deeper and deeper into a state of complete relaxation. Moving up your legs, notice your calves now. Focus on your calves. Think real hard about your calves. Think of them as relaxing. Think what it would be like to have them tense, and then let them go. Just let them relax. All the tensions going out of your calves, completely relaxed. Moving up to your thighs, think of them as relaxed also. Completely relaxed, the tensions going out of your thighs, becoming more and more relaxed. More and more relaxed. Now your whole body is in a state of complete relaxation. The whole body's feeling very good, very relaxed, completely at ease. And now, we will begin our first scene. Imagine yourself sitting alone at home. You're home alone. Nobody else is around. And you feel just a little bit angry at being there alone. You kind of think if people really loved you, they wouldn't leave you alone like this. They'd take care of you. Then you think, well, that's a silly thing to think. That's no reason for me to feel that way. And then you get angry at yourself for even thinking that. Then you think, well, I think I need a little something to eat. There's a little store nearby. And they sell food, groceries. They also sell alcohol. You're telling yourself, oh, I'm not going over there. I'm just going to get a little snack, something to eat. There doesn't seem to be anything in the house. Go out the front door, walking along, still saying, now I'm not going to get anything to drink over there. I'm not going to get anything to drink. But in the back of your mind, you kind of wonder if what you're telling yourself is accurate or not. Get in the store, walk over to the case where the dairy products are, and there's what you came for. A box of cottage cheese, a little package or tin of cottage cheese. You take that out, and your eye strays down the cabinet into the very next compartment where they keep the booze. You look at that and think, now I know I'm not going to get any booze here. That isn't why I came. But at the same time, just as though you had no control over it, you find your arm and hand opening up the door to the booze section. Before you know it, you've got it in your hand, walking out with it, paying for it. You're walking home. You're walking fast now. You're walking fast. You feel very guilty. And the sooner you get home and open up the booze, the faster you'll get over this guilt feeling. You put the cottage cheese away in the icebox and pop open your drink and raise it to your lips. You take a deep, deep swallow. Feel it on your lips. Feel it rolling around your tongue. It tastes pretty good. But then, suddenly, it starts having kind of a warm taste, which is very odd because it was ice cold a minute ago. But now it's turning warm. It has a flat taste. It tastes flat, kind of a bitter, flat taste, as though it had been sitting out on a counter for months. And as it goes down, it seems to hit your stomach with a jolt. Your stomach seems to be reacting in a very unpleasant fashion. Your last meal seems to be turning over in your stomach. You begin feeling slightly dizzy and nauseous. Your head seems to be spinning a little bit. You just can't understand why this would happen from drinking this one swallow of this booze that seemed to have gone flat. Now your whole stomach is churning. You can feel your stomach right now going through gyrations, churning. Something seems to be forcing its way up your throat. You're afraid that you might vomit. You're trying to hold it down, but you can't hold it down. And before you know it, it just all comes up. and it gushes out. First, this flat, stale booze coming past your mouth, forcing its way past your mouth, and it's followed by your last meal, washing out over your mouth, holding your hands there. It dribbles through your fingers, out over your clothes. Your clothes begin to reek the stink of this stale booze and your last meal. Your stomach is just in agony, churning, pushing up the stale food, spilling it all over you, all over the floor. Okay, now this scene fades. Let yourself relax again. Relax. Let every muscle in your body completely relax. Your stomach is relaxing. The feelings of having to vomit have faded. Your whole body's going deep, deep into a state of complete relaxation. Completely relaxed, going deeper and deeper. Your breathing is becoming deep and regular again. Now we're going to play that last scene over, but with a different ending. Starting again, imagine yourself sitting at home. There's nobody there. You're lonely, a little angry that they left you alone. You tell yourself that you need something to eat. You walk over to the store. Imagine yourself walking out the door, walking down the street. In the back of your mind, saying to yourself, I'm not really going to get something to drink at that store, even though they sell booze, as you well know. I'm going to get something to eat. Get over to the store, walking into the store, looking around, you see the clerk, the aisles of groceries, walking past the groceries over to the cold storage cabinet where the milk products are. You see the milk products there, you reach in, you've had a craving for some cottage cheese. You take out the cottage cheese, your eye strays down to the booze section. There in front of you, within very easy reach, is your favorite booze. You're at a moment of decision. And rather than stand there and battle it out with yourself, knowing that the wrong decision might win if you stood there, you turn your back on it and walk away. Pay for the cottage cheese. And as you walk home with the cottage cheese, you suddenly feel just like you're on top of the world. You feel a feeling of just great joy. You feel almost exalted. You feel really pleasant. Your whole body is completely relaxed. There's no tension anywhere. Your whole body is just flooded with this really good feeling. Great deal of pride. You feel proud of yourself for what you did. You went to the store to get cottage cheese, and that's what you got. Walking home. Feel just like you're walking on air. You feel just light. Light as a feather. Your whole body feels so light. It's almost like you're floating home. Feels so good. So completely relaxed. So completely relaxed. And as you arrive home, there your people are waiting for you. They've come back. They're really glad to see you. They all give you a big kiss, welcoming you home. Even though all you brought back was cottage cheese, they're glad to see you. And again, you feel really good about the decision you made just a while back. Continue to allow your whole body to relax, going deeper, deeper into a completely relaxed state. Completely relaxed state. And now, the next scene. You're sitting in a bar. You don't remember exactly how you got there. Somehow earlier in the night, you walked in, ordered a drink, and sat there. You don't know how long you've been there. Feeling groggy, a little dizzy, not too comfortable. You begin wondering about going home. The booze you drank still heavy in your stomach. Your brain's a little foggy. You wonder whether you should drive or not, but you don't want to embarrass yourself or other people by asking for a ride home. So you're going outside now, out of the bar. As you walk through the barroom door, you lose your balance and bump against the door. You're staggering a little bit, but you tell yourself, well, that's all right. You go outside, get in your car, you're fumbling for the keys. Imagine yourself trying to find the key. You never had trouble before finding the key to the ignition. Finally, get the key in, crank it over, look around the dashboard. It's night, it's raining out, seems to be pouring down rain. Turn on the lights, turn on the windshield wipers. Windshield wipers are beating steadily in front of you, clearing the rain away as it hits the window. Backing your car out now. You bump slightly into another car. Somehow you just didn't see it. You still feel all right. Pulling the car out onto the road now. You're onto the road, driving along. The white line seems to be very difficult to see. You think, well, it must be the rain. But also you know you've been drinking. It's hard to see. Your mind is fuzzy. The booze seems to have permeated your whole body. You're picking up speed. Your head seems to fall down on your chest. You're almost at the pass-out stage, but you shake your head, shake yourself awake. You're driving on. You look up ahead and see it looks like there's some lights headed directly toward you. Were you asleep? What happened? You grapple, try to get your foot to the brake. It doesn't respond. It seems to take an eternity for you to get your foot to the brake. You're trying to find the brake, reaching, pumping for the brake. Finally, your foot hits the brake. The car lurches on the road. It seems to be going crazy under you, swerving in the rain, in the mud. The headlights of the other car keep coming. They keep coming. And suddenly, there's a huge crash. Glass is exploding all around you. The sound of the wreck seems to be everywhere. You're surrounded by it. It's a horrible, horrible experience. Your body is lurching around inside of the car. You're terrified and panicked. And that's all you remember until you wake up in the hospital some days later. Now let yourself relax again. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and let yourself relax. Going back into a state of complete relaxation, becoming more and more relaxed, more and more relaxed. Your whole body's relaxing again. Feet are relaxing. Legs are relaxing. The scene fades from your mind. And now, another scene. You're walking along the street. It's late afternoon, and you don't quite know what to do with yourself. Walking along, feeling kind of lonely, maybe a little afraid. And you realize, as you just suddenly glance up, you've been walking along aimlessly, you look up and there is your favorite bar. The lights blinking, almost saying, come on in. Inside you know that that's where your friends are. You know you'd have somebody to talk to. You stand there for just a moment and you use a great effort of will. You start walking away from the bar. You're walking away. You're feeling really good about having walked away. Your whole spirit, each step you take, seems to make you feel lighter and lighter. Your whole body becomes lighter. A feeling of joy, happiness floods your whole being. You really feel like a man. You know that had you gone in the bar, they would have pressured you. Your good old friends would have told you, come on, just have one drink. If you'd have refused, they'd have said that you were afraid. But you know that when you can feel this good walking away from the bar, they must not have the answer inside the bar. You're walking along feeling very, very good, very relaxed, completely relaxed and at ease, and very comfortable. And you walk along feeling very good, feeling very warm, a about the world. And on a park bench, you look over, and there's a woman about 45, and she's crying. Your heart seems to just go out to her tears coming down her cheeks. You can see this just like you were actually there. You think, well, it's none of my business, but something draws you over to her. You used to need to have a few beers to feel compassion for people, to feel deeply about somebody else's problem. But now, suddenly, without any beer at all, without having drank at all, you feel your heart just going out to this woman. You feel good that you're able to respond in this way without any booze. In fact, you know that the strength of your response is even deeper because you didn't stop at that bar. Otherwise, you just would have been sloshing in feelings that you were afraid to have when you weren't drinking. You sit down beside this woman who's crying. You say to her, "Pardon me, madam, I hate to intrude like this, but wonder if there's anything I could do to help you." And she answers, "Nobody can help." And then she starts crying all the more. But you feel warm toward her. Even though she seems to be pushing you away a little bit, you still feel warm. And your heart just goes out to her in whatever sorrow she's feeling. You say, "Well, if there's anything I can do, or what is it that it's upsetting you?" And she cries even more. But now she's crying because she's crying harder now, but she's crying because she has somebody to share it with. She's sharing her sorrow with you. And you feel good about this. You feel good about being sober and sharing this sorrow with this woman. And she says, "Nothing can help this." And then she hands you a telegram. And it says, "Dear parents of James Davis, this is to inform you that your son was killed in action in the front lines. Your son died a hero." You read this and you understand the depth of her sorrow. You don't know what to say. There doesn't seem to be like anything you can say. But yet, even though you aren't saying anything, even though she's crying, you're sharing an experience with her. It's better for her to have you sharing this with her, sharing it with somebody. You feel good and bad at the same time. Good to be able to share an experience like this, bad because of what's happened to her son. Words don't seem to help. You can't think of the right words. You reach out and touch her on the shoulder, and you just have your hand touching her shoulder. You say, "I think I know how you feel." And you're right, there is nothing that can fill the sorrow you feel. And she cries. for quite a while. You with your hand on her shoulder, saying nothing, she crying. Finally, she slows down and stops. She looks up at you. She feels embarrassed that she cried. You almost cried yourself several times. There, you were so tied in tune with what she was feeling. It felt good to be able to share that feeling that closely. She looks at you, tears still shining in her eyes. She says, "Thank you." And then she gets up and leaves. And you know that if you had gone in that bar, you wouldn't have been able to have that wonderful experience of sharing somebody's sorrow with them. And now we will continue with the practicing of tolerating rejection. Tolerating rejection and anger in other people. The idea of this particular sequence is that if you experience the worst in fantasy, when somebody actually does say something that is designed to hurt your feelings, you will have gone through so much that it will more or less roll off your back, their negativism, like water off the duck's back, because you'll have gone through the very worst already. Now in this next series of scenes, we will have them happen over a time period of several years. You are to imagine each scene just as if it were happening to you at the present time. Some of these scenes will not be very pleasant, and they will perhaps create anxiety. But if you can picture yourself in these scenes, realizing after the session that this didn't really happen to you, that it isn't going to happen, having gone through the worst in fantasy, reality, you can take whatever reality does have to offer. You may never have been in a foster home, as we will cover in these scenes, but imagine that you are going through the experiences anyway. See yourself now at the age of 10. You're 10, a young fellow, not too tall yet. You've been in this foster home for just 3 days. You don't know, you can't even remember how many other foster homes you've been in before that. Just kind of kicked around from one place to another. You don't know where your mother is, your foster mother. She seems to have gone off and left you before like this, but never this long. Every time she left you, you have felt deserted and abandoned. Now you feel the same way. The food in the house is almost gone. The cupboards are empty. You're just 10. You don't know how to get food. You don't have the money to buy it. You found a can of beans in the morning, but that's all there was to eat. You're still hungry. You just called up some relatives to ask if they knew where your mother was. They didn't know. They said that they would take care of you. 2 men come to the door from the Juvenile Protection Division. They're very nice. They tell you, come with us. We'll take care of you. And a few days later, you're in another foster home. They tell you right away in this home that you are expected to work and pay your own way. There's to be no shirking. These foster parents seem cold, emotionally dried out, maybe just taking you in for the money they get. They put you in a bedroom with 3 other foster children. You cry yourself to sleep every night, worrying about where your real mother is, wondering why she abandoned you. You come home from school. It seems that there is often some reason why you don't get to eat supper. Your foster parents tell you, you haven't done your chores yet, you don't get any dinner tonight. It seems like you get a little bit of food for breakfast, and if you manage to make a lunch, you get to eat lunch at school. But every time your foster mother sees you making lunch, she gets mad and complains about all the food you eat. This seems to go on and on and on. You feel hungry all the time. Just hungry. You're aware all the time of a terrible, gnawing hunger. Hunger for your mother. Hunger for a decent meal. Foster parents hollering at you all the time. Picture them in your mind now. Those tall, stern, frightening foster parents sitting there telling you, you're no good, you're lazy, you're not worth having around. Sometimes they strike you just to get their point across. These truth sessions seem to go on and on. All you can think of while they're giving you these lectures every day is that your head aches from lack of food, your stomach aches from not having enough to eat. You're too tired and weak to fight back. Yet they say, answer us, answer us. They want you to confess how bad you are. But you just cry instead. And they always seem to say, bad little boys who cry go to bed without any dinner. And you go off and cry yourself to sleep again, hungry, tired, afraid, lonely. It feels like nobody cares. You begin to lose weight over the months at this foster home. One day, you can't get out of bed in the morning. You're so weak. You have lost so much weight. You're just skin and bones. So the foster parents call up the juvenile bureau and tell them you won't cooperate with them and they should take you back. You are put in an orphan's home and they feed you good. So after a while you can finally move around a little bit. But even here, though the food is good and you're gaining weight back again, the people are very cold emotionally. You're still starving for affection. But you have been hurt and rejected so many times that you don't even try to contact people. It isn't very long after you've been in the orphan's home that you're sent out to another foster home. They made sure that you got one where they would at least feed you. But in other ways, it is just as bad or even worse. You're 11 now, and you get even more preaching, but it's more underground. Some ways even worse than before. Picture yourself, age 11, sitting down in the living room with this couple, a man and a wife. They have gentle looks on their faces. You had just gotten angry because they wanted you to go to Bible class again. They want you to go to some sort of Bible or religious exercise almost every day, and you get tired of Bible or all this Bible stuff. You protested mildly, saying, do I have to do that again? They thought it was time to have a nice, long talk. They start talking about how we are all born as sinners. You too, you're a sinner. You wonder, how could you have sinned at the age of 11? We all have a black spot on our souls, they say. You can see their gentle faces telling you this. They're not punishing you directly, but they're trying to create so much guilt in you that you feel very uncomfortable. They ask you confusing questions. Don't you want God to love you? They ask you in their gentle way. Don't you want to be saved from the sinning mankind has done? You feel like they're telling you that they won't love you if you don't do what they say. You keep hearing them telling you how you sin too. Their idea of raising foster children is to tell them how they sin, that they must sin no more. You feel all wrapped up in guilty feelings, feeling guilty but not knowing what for, because you can't really think of anything you did, but they keep talking about sinning. You go to church with them, you go to Bible classes, you try to play good, try to please them, but it seems they always find something wrong, like you didn't say your prayers with enough spiritual energy, your attitude wasn't right. They seem to want to keep having a sinner to convert. No matter how you act, they don't seem to believe that you feel converted and won't tell you that you're doing good at anything. Some people seem to need to have somebody there to save, whether it's from sinning or from drinking, and maybe they have to convince you that you're a sinner or a drunkard in order to be able to save you. But now, it's gotten worse. They start putting you in your room for long periods of time. Go to your room to pray, they tell you. That after you have meditated and talked to God for hours, you will be cleansed. You remember spending hours and hours in that room, pacing up and down, hating it, until one day you tried to break a window and tried to climb out, but they caught you plucking their tongue, saying, "Sinner, sinner." And they take you back to juvenile hall to await being sent to another foster home.
Now let yourself relax. Let your whole body go into a relaxed state. At a later time, we will return to these negative fantasies. And though these fantasies may not fit your situation precisely, the goal here is to have you experience feelings of rejection and loneliness, or re-experience the feelings that you did have in your youth. Purpose of this being that if we re-expose ourselves to old feelings, we find our lives less troubled by them. Once we recognize and accept what has bothered us, and also the fact that there is little we can do about it, we find ourselves seeking and looking more for satisfactions in our current daily life rather than hoping that somewhere out of the past these unmet feelings will eventually be met. Now this will be the end of session 8.